Alrighty. So I hope everyone's doing good. So if you watched my last video, I said in the end of it that I plan to sit down and kind of give, like one more revisit to Halo Infinite and its gameplay trailer, and just kind of give some final thoughts on news we've been getting lately and everything that's going on. Now, I will revisit the game later on once we get more major news, but this is going to be kind of like my final thoughts on the gameplay trailer and the state of the game right now. So while I talk, I'm just going to have some Halo Reach on in the background, just play and just tell you guys what I think. So right before recording this video, I got some more news about the game that I wasn't super excited for. Now, we all know Halo Infinite got delayed. What we had thought would possibly be till 2021, if the graphics just being as questionable as they were. But before recording, I found an article that said it could be delayed until 2022, and that we could even, have the Xbox One edition dropped as a whole. Which makes me nervous because, after the gameplay trailer came out, a lot of articles began coming out about developers who have worked there and said that there is a large rift between employees because oftentimes 343 was outsourcing a lot of the work they were doing with coders, which isn't good. Now that worries me because Bungie always seemed to be such a good close-knit team with one goal in mind. So it concerns me if they're outsourcing all of their work and, it's not really a team effort. Hopefully that doesn't come through in the gameplay, but that doesn't make me happy to hear. Also, it makes me question, how chaotic is the development of this game? How good of a product are we going to get from something that needs to be laid deep, that needs to be delayed another 2 years after being in development for 5 already? We've never seen more than 2 or 3 years between Halo games. So that makes me a little bit nervous. I was okay with the initial delay because it's like, clearly they care about their product. They're willing to just put it aside for a year. But with more information coming out, I'm worried that it's going to... Even with the delays, I just wonder how clean of a game we're going to get at launch. Anyways, moving on from that to the actual game. In my initial review of the trailer, there's a couple things I forgot to leave out. Just because, I made that video immediately after watching it. I made a list, I wrote it down, and I missed some things, so I want to retouch on some of this. So I had said that the graphics didn't seem too bad to me. I had said, it had a good charm to it. But man, I overlooked that one. You can see when the ship's landing that there's just not that much texture on the mountains around them, and the game just looks unpolished. It almost looked like Minecraft to me for some reason, just on some of the edges, and I really overlooked that one. Some more screenshots came out comparing like Halo 3 and Halo Reach elites and brutes and things of that nature compared to Halo Infinite ones, and just how bland and shiny and cartoonish they look, which I'm okay with. I like a more cartoony look to their gear in some ways. I like a brighter, more artistic approach, but it just didn't look good. And I knew I messed up when I said the graphics weren't a big deal, and I saw that screenshot of the brute that just didn't look good, which I'm pretty sure that's a lot of the reason for the delay. I don't think they were expecting the backlash that they got once that, trailer had come out, because we saw things clipping in and out. When you'd unload from the map, you'd see that not everything would load in at once, and it would just clip in. And it looked messy. It looked sloppy. Definitely not something I'd expect from a AAA company after 5 years of development in a gameplay trailer that's going to showcase the next generation of consoles, So I'm cool with the fact that they are delaying it for that fact that needs some work. That needs to be worked on. This game needs to be polished. Bungie's games always had so much polish and time put into them, and I don't expect anything less from this one. Another thing I noticed too was something 343 has a middle of a nail, quite the same as Bungie. Which I know, I shouldn't be comparing them constantly to Bungie. They're a different developer. They're not going to be the same. But is the lighting. The lighting of the level. If you look back at games like Halo 3 and like Sierra 117, the lighting in that was so spectacular that the graphics didn't matter if they came out in 2007. The lighting was so good. The light came through the leaves and it looked beautiful and alive. And in some ways, this world just kind of looks muddy and dead. Good lighting in the game, to me, improves its graphics more than anything else possibly could. So I hope they get the laying down some levels to just give it charm and life. You know what I mean? Also, some big news that we got. Halo Infinite will be a standalone story. You do not need to play Halo 5 or 4 to understand the story of Halo Infinite. You could come in totally fresh-minded and play it, which is exactly what I wanted. That's how all the other Halo games were to me. I started out Halo 2 when I was 6 years old, and I was able to just play through it without really understanding CE. I still got a great time out of the game, but I feel like if I picked up Halo 5 and tried to play through it without mastering the lore of the entire universe, I wouldn't enjoy it as much. That makes me happy. Because to be honest with you, I don't know Halo 4 and 5 story all that well. I did enjoy the games enough. So it makes me happy that I'm going to be able to pick up and play this game right away and enjoy myself. That's fantastic. I think that's, and it's also going to attract newcomers. It's going to introduce new people to a story and be friendly to new people picking up the game. So hopefully Halo gets some new fans and, you know, maybe becomes a top console seller again. Which would be hard since it's not a launch title anymore. They were willing to give up it being a launch title and get those day one sales for quality. And I respect that. I really do. I'm glad they're not putting an incomplete game out on the shelf, because that would ruin it. Because MCC took a while to warm up to me after that launch. We don't talk about that, so hopefully they avoid that. I also hope the story is impactful. I hope we have better character development and more emotions instead of just straight, boring exposition and dialogue. But so far, Brohammer seems to be a great character. He seems to bring a lot of emotion to the table, and he seems like somebody I could get behind and, you know, grow attached to. And I think their story writers are just doing a much better job, even from the first 3 minutes that I've seen of this game, than anything in Halo 4 and 5. I hope we just get some good emotional scenes. Like, you know, in Cortana, you know, the Halo 3 mission. When she finds her, it's such a good emotion-evoking scene. And, you know, not every scene was this crazy Michael Bay action piece. And it doesn't need to be. That's not what Halo is meant to be. Action is a tool that, when used right in storytelling, can be impactful, but when you use it all the time, it just becomes action that no one cares about. So I hope they learn that, and I hope the story has that. Also, something I missed out on because, again, I didn't pay attention to that many little details. I was just an excited fanboy ready to make a video on it. There's a lot of RPG elements that I missed out on, you know, in my first few watch-throughs. We see that when Chief opens up his map, there's an upgrades tab. So, you know, I wonder what they're going to do with that. I wonder if it's going to be, you know, like a Fallout level of RPG customization. Like, how much impact is that going to have on the story? You know, how much time are they going to put into it? Hopefully it's a solid part of the story that I enjoy doing and not just a hassle that adds nothing to the gameplay. Another element of customization we see in this trailer that was never in Halo before was possibly attachments on weapons. We can see when Chief walks over a pulse carbine, it says assault rifle, plasma, burst. So it seems that guns are going to have interchangeable attachments on them. And that's interesting. We've never seen something like that before. So I wonder how deep that's going to go. And, you know, it just seems that they're doing a lot to add more to the story and add more to the combat. So it's more than just pick up a sniper rifle, pick up a shotgun, shoot things. You know, you can change, it looks like you can upgrade Chief. You can change the, you know, attachments on guns. So it looks like they're going a bit more in depth on these things, which I think is interesting. Hopefully it just adds to the game. And again, hopefully it's not just a hassle. Now, in my opinion, I hope they keep these attachment ideas out of multiplayer. I hope we just get a good Halo multiplayer with the regular guns, with spawn-ins on the map that create choke points. And, you know, just the basic Halo multiplayer combat that we saw through Halos 1 through 3. I love Halo Reach, but I hope they don't have armor abilities. Speaking of armor abilities, something that's had the community upset from what I've seen has been the sprint. We see Chief sprint, I believe it was towards the Warthog in the trailer. And a lot of people were upset about that. Now, I consider myself to be a relatively OG Halo player. Now, I'm not crazy, you know, understand everything about the universe and, you know, super crazy fanboy lore master of the games, but I've played every Halo game repeatedly my entire life. And the sprint doesn't bother me. I've been playing a lot of El Dorito lately, which is very fun. And we all know that runs on Halo 3's engine. And it has sprint. And it's been some of the most fun I've had playing Halo multiplayer in a very long time. I think if the maps are designed correctly and it's handled well, sprint could just speed up the pacing of the game and keep it a bit more intriguing. I wouldn't be opposed if it wasn't in the multiplayer, but I'm not going to be upset if it is. I don't think that's going to make or break the game. So another thing of a trailer we saw was a difference in level design. So, you know, in every Halo game, you go from level to level, and the game puts you in each environment by itself. This looks like you're going to be carrying out missions in the same world and traveling to each one in more of an open world style of gameplay. So I wonder how that's going to be laid out. How big is the world going to be? You know, how are they going to handle storytelling if you can carry out the story however you wish? We've always just seen a cutscene before a level and after, sometimes in between. And that's how Halo's always delivered its story. So I wonder how far away they're going to stray from that and make it still feel like Halo. So I'll leave a link in the description to an article I was reading by PC Games. They did an article with one of the 343 members. His name's Paul Crocker. And they asked him, you know, like, compare this to Skyrim. How open world is this? And he said they took a Halo approach to the design and they made it somewhere between original Halo and Skyrim. They said that there's a lot about this game that we just haven't seen. Like, that trailer was just the beginning, which I think is very interesting. He said that the design is going to be very large and open world. It's going to be very explorable. There's going to be a lot of secrets to find, and I hope they stay true to this. I don't want to get a bland open world, but I don't want to explore if it's just dead. I mean, Bungie was able to pull this off with linear level designs. Well, mostly linear. Like, if you think about Halo, the second mission on CE, Halo, When I was a kid, I explored that level all over the place, and it was just a single mission. It was just a single small world. I explored all under the waterfall. It just felt like it was brimming with life. You could find, brutes peeing, Bungie employees in their underwear, callbacks to old levels. You could find all of this just within single levels. So my expectations for this are high. They just have to be. They've been given many good examples of things they could do. Now, one of the things that makes me nervous is this is a lot of new things to bring to the table for a Halo game. We've never seen RPG elements in a Halo game. We've never seen upgrades. We've never seen this, weapon attachment customization. They're adding a lot. So I can't help but say I'm a little bit nervous of how this is going to feel like Halo. I don't mean to be the casual, Debbie Downer on 343. Think of stories like Halo 5. They had a harder time making single levels feel alive and interesting to be in. So there's a slight nervousness inside of me of how well they'll be able to design a humongous world. And with the small level design, they have plenty of examples from, years and years of Bungie's work, but they still couldn't necessarily pull it off. So I'm worried with no examples how well they can bring so many new ideas to a Halo game and make it feel like Halo and be enjoyable. You think of this big open world, I'm curious how they're going to lay out combat. Halo's almost just always kind of been like an arena style shooter where you get these cool areas to fight, like where I'm in now. I wonder how they're going to handle that. How are you going to stumble upon enemies? How natural are the enemies going to be there? How are they going to spawn in? I wonder how well they're going to implement Halo's combat into a big open world. Which it looked fun. The combat loop looked fun. I just hope it applies well to a large open world where you seem to just kind of stumble upon groups of enemies, So another thing I shockingly forgot to put in my initial thoughts video was a reaction to the music. When Chief's riding up that elevator, up to the top of that platform, and the music kicks in, I kind of felt like Marty O'Donnell himself just came. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, "It's going to be okay." I know it's not Marty O'Donnell, but man, it just gave me those solid vibes. And I think Marty would be proud of the music they're making. I think they're doing a good job taking his ideas and his work and putting their own good spin on it. His music, when done right, can completely change the scene and the atmosphere of a video game. It doesn't need to be playing all the time, and just those perfect times when it kicks in, that's what makes memories of video games for you. So I hope they understand that, and so far it seems like they're doing a fantastic job with the music. Now, the last thing I want to touch on, but I'm a little bit nervous about, is the rumor this is going to be a live service Halo game. I'm not a fan of live service games, especially ones that I'm imagining, I don't know this for sure, that come with a $60 price tag. I looked at games like Destiny 1 and 2, which I'm not fans of because the controversy they were swarmed in. You got a campaign that wasn't as long as it could have been, but then they just sold you those DLCs at an hour and a half, 2 hours of gameplay. I love that so far every Halo game, you get the game and the entire story is there. Now, I guess they could pull this off. They could give us a totally complete story at launch and I'll be super happy with it. And then they just give us more and more. And if it's a great game, that's going to be awesome. And I could totally see that, working. But in our current climate of our game industry, where we're just surrounded in controversy, I have my doubts, I'm not going to lie. So overall, it just looks like we're not going to be seeing Halo Infinite for a while now. And, if the rumors that they might drop it on Xbox One in general, like, not even launch it with the Xbox One that's out now, it makes me a little bit upset because I don't have tons of money to throw around. I can't just buy the new console immediately. It took me a while to get the Xbox One when it came out. And I'm not going to lie, a big selling point was that I could just play it on Xbox One. And I would have been totally cool with that. So that's a little bit upsetting, but I'm glad they're willing to postpone the game and take the time they need. Just imagine. Imagine with me. I'm glad they're taking time to delay this. Because if they need 2 more years, imagine what this game would have been like at launch if they would have put it out in 3 or 4 months. I just hope the integrity of the game is there. That's all I want. I want to play a game that I feel like had passion, that wasn't just thrown together for money or for the sake of being a Halo game. It doesn't have to be a Bungie game. They don't have to do exactly what Bungie did. The only thing I want them to copy is the passion and soul that went into every single one of the games, Halo 1 through Reach. When I play Halo Reach, I feel like I'm playing a game that was cared about, that had time put into it. They thought through it, and that's all I want. I want to play a game that was thought through, it had its time taken on it, but I could tell the developers loved. And I think that's what we're going to get. I'm hoping that's what we're going to get. With all the rumors coming out, I'm a little bit nervous. I just want Halo to be the pinnacle of Xbox again. So for now, that's all I have. But that's just kind of my final thoughts on the gameplay trailer and the state of where it's at. As of right now, August 24th. So if there's anything I missed, please make sure to let me know in the comments. And if I missed a lot, or if for some reason within the next month a bunch of new updates come out, I will make a new video. But for now, this is just going to kind of be my final thoughts until a bigger trailer comes out or a really big announcement comes out. So if you want to, tell me what you think down in the comments. I'll be more than wanting to respond to what you guys think. So share your opinions. I'll be excited to hear them. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Come check out the Twitch streams. There's a link for them in the description. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.